like spring, is a season of change, but it's also a season of huge contrasts. One day it can be 30 degrees down in the lower valley, with freezing level up at 4,500 metres. The next, it can be snowing at mid-mountain and miserable wet down in the valley. And that's pretty much been the story of the last 3, maybe 4 weeks really. We have 2 or 3 days, maybe slightly longer, of intense heat, still feels like summer, and then almost instantly it can change to feeling very autumnal, even wintry right now. So last night we had a dusting of snow down below 1,800 metres. There's a pretty decent covering down at 2,000 metres now. And of course, up here on the Guide de Midi, it's been snowing on and off virtually every day for quite a long time. It's lovely deep soft powder up here, but unfortunately I can't see a thing, so it's actually really dangerous trying to ski this right now. The crevasses, of course, at the end of the summer are all really open, especially that big crevasse and Bergstrand complex over there. That's the worst I've ever seen the Bergstrand coming off of the Guide de Midi arête. It's an absolute nightmare at the moment. And yeah, trying to ski through that when you can't see a thing and everything's just covered by a layer of soft powder is super dangerous. So I've come here to film this video really. I was hoping to be able to ski, but I've not been able to enjoy any of my turns. I'm just here for filming this segment now really. It's been quite a while since you've heard from me now, quite simply because I haven't been up in the high mountains since my last video. Yes, there have been some great weather windows of course, but they have been quite limited, and any time I've had a partner lined up, the weather windows are closed out on me. So yeah, I've basically been enjoying my other hobbies at this time of year. Plenty of running, plenty of cycling. Unfortunately, haven't managed to do any mountaineering since you last heard from me. But of course, plenty of people have been managing to get out, and in those weather windows, plenty of things have been getting done. Obviously, with the fresh snow, conditions on snow routes, especially over on the Valais 4000ers, things like Liscam Traverse, Monte Rosa Massif, are all pretty good now. They've all always got a well-trodden path on them. Yes, you're breaking trail first thing in the day, you might have to work quite hard, but they're all getting done so often that there's always a good trail to find. And yeah, fresh snow, cold weather, with good freeze-fall cycles, it's great conditions for snow arêtes and that kind of thing. But in terms of alpine rock, it's pretty much over now. It has been for a while, I think. We have been very much a bit of an in-between season. It hasn't yet been cold enough with enough snow and ice for proper mixed climbing, but it's been too cold and wet and damp and snowy for high alpine rock climbing. But that is definitely starting to change now. Sherry Couloir over on the Triangle de Tackle has been seeing quite a few ascents recently, anytime you can actually see it. And I'm sure with these good freeze-fall cycles we've been having, ice has been forming everywhere in all the usual places now. All the routes on the east face of Pointe Nationale, north face of the Guide de Midi. It won't be too much longer now before they're starting to see some ascents as well. And then of course there's all the easy classics up here, such as the Cosmic Arête and Reta Lawrence and the Marbury's and Entreves over on the Torino sector. They'll be getting done probably today. Even in this weather, people will be doing them. People who've stayed in the huts, or they just managed to get out early when they can actually see. Those routes get climbed all year round, and even in bad weather you can still do them. And of course, whenever we have had a good weather window, plenty of people have been getting out skiing. All the usual suspects have been out opening their campaigns for the season, skiing down the Midi Arête, and on like the north face of the Pointe Nationale, for example. People have even been boot packing up some of the lower parts of the routes on the Triangle de Tackle, getting some proper steep turns. Pretty early season for that, which is pretty cool. And even people have been tracing the route up the north flank of Mont Blanc de Tackle, possibly even Montmordy as well. So people have been getting out some pretty big days on their skis whenever they have had good overhead conditions. As I say, I'm a bit late to the party now and I've missed the boat again today as well, but there's certainly been some great skiing conditions to be had for those who've been in the right place at the right time. As I said in my last video, throughout September we see a pretty rapid closure of virtually all the lifts and huts. From this weekend, the only lift that will still be running is the Guide de Midi, and the only huts that will still be open is the Cosmic Refuge and the Torino Refuge on the Italian side. But with the Mont Blanc tunnel closed and the panoramic closed, from Chamonix you won't be able to get to the Torino either way. So basically, as far as you're concerned, it's only the Cosmic Refuge. So yeah, everything does start to close down pretty rapidly through September. But both Flagère and the Montenverge train will be reopening for the October half-term holidays. Around about the 15th of October through to the 2nd of November, they will be open as well. And then from the 2nd of November, that's it, everything is closed. Even the Guide de Midi will be closed from the 2nd of November, and then we just have to wait until the start of the ski season in mid-December. A little shout out to Outdoor Master for sending me this new helmet to be testing and reviewing for this season. This is the Elk MIPS helmet, which, like all Outdoor Master products, is fantastic value. To have a MIPS helmet which retails for less than $100, significantly less than $100, is pretty phenomenal really. And yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to test and review this for the rest of the season. A little update on the road situation. So in case you missed it, there was unfortunately a fatal rockfall on the downhill portion of the main road up into Chamonix. It's the highway from Geneva through to Italy. So that has now been closed for several weeks, and it's going to remain closed until at least November. And in all honesty, I'm not going to be rushing the security works are doing there, because like I say, there was a fatal accident, and with the tunnel also closed at this time of year and no tourists around in November, they got very little motivation to actually rush through it and get everything done quickly. So I really wouldn't be surprised if that segment of the road stays closed through till mid-December when the ski season starts and the tunnel reopens again. And then, to make matters even worse, a couple of days ago there was yet another rockfall onto the uphill portion, the main viaduct heading up from the lower valley into Chamonix. So that is now closed as well. Where previously they had a contraflow in operation up and down the viaduct, now both the up and downhill sections are closed, which means you've got to take the back road via Shed and Passy up through Servoz, which is obviously causing quite a bit of chaos. That road is not suitable for HGVs and buses, so quite a few people ended up missing their flights on the first day or so after it closed, because if they booked a bus, something like Swiss Tours or BlaBlaCar, to get to the airport, obviously they couldn't get there. Likewise with HGVs, anybody who was in the valley when the road closed now to take a massive diversion via the Col de Monte into Switzerland and go the really long way round the north side of Lake Geneva to basically get out of Chamonix. So yeah, it's been causing a lot of chaos. Sure, it's first world problems. There's much bigger problems going on in the world right now, but for example for me today, a drive which would normally take about 12 minutes to get from where I live up to the outskirts of Chamonix, it's taking about 45. So yeah, it certainly makes getting up and down quickly to be able to make the most of a weather window up on the Guide de Midi, for example, pretty difficult. And an update on the lift passes for the winter 2025-6 season for those thinking of getting an annual or full season pass. As it stands at the moment, Saint-Gervais and Le Contamine are not included in the Mont Blanc Unlimited lift pass, which is absolute bonkers, to be honest. It makes zero sense because Megève, Combloux, etc., everything else which is further away is still included, and you'll be able to ski into Saint-Gervais via the Megève lift system, but you can't take the lifts up from Saint-Gervais at the moment. Now, I'm sure this will change before the start of the season. It's probably just a little bit of a dick waving contest between the Chamonix and Saint-Gervais mairies and lift companies, and I'm sure they'll hash it out and sort everything out. But yeah, as it stands at the moment, for those who are buying the early bird lift passes, currently Saint-Gervais isn't included. So if you are umming and ahhing about which lift pass to get, whether you go for Véja, Mont Blanc Unlimited or just Chamonix, perhaps hold off for now. Unless you are in the Club Privé system and you've got no choice, I'd certainly wait for a few weeks, maybe even a month or two, until everything is finalised, until we know if Saint-Gervais will be included or not, because it'll make a huge difference to what we're able to ski if you can't ski in Saint-Gervais. For those hoping to do a little bit of hiking over the coming weeks, all the paths which head up from the Col de Monte up towards Lac Blanc are closed until early or mid-November. I can't remember the exact date, but I'll put it on the screen somewhere. So if you are heading up towards Lac Blanc, for example, or the Chesserie slabs, you have to start from slightly lower down, or even indeed come up from Argentière. And on the Grand Balkan Sud, between the Guide de Midi and Montenver, there was a fairly big landslide which has taken out a section of the path there. And to be honest, with all the rain we've been having recently, there's almost certainly been landslides and rockfalls on other sections of path around the valley as well. So just bear that in mind. It is still passable, but yeah, if you are out when there is bad weather, then just be aware that stuff could end up falling down from above, so you need to be extra careful. The sun's come out briefly and I managed to get a few turns in, but there's so many crevasses now and they're really hard to see from above because obviously the snow kind of falls down on them and gives you a bit of a lip. So I have to be super careful, really cautious. Be able to enjoy a few turns, but still, yeah. The snow is beautiful, but you really can't open out and enjoy it too much, unfortunately. But at least I can see these amazing views now. Check this out. speaking of the mixed climbing, there's Pellicer Gully on the east face of Pointe Nationale, looking pretty much complete now. You can be sure it's been quite powdery, but that snow will be consolidating slowly but surely. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets its first ascent of the season soon. Gabriel Albino and Mordecai Nori, etc. up there on the east face of Mont Tackle, also looking powdery but filled in. So again, it's all starting to shape up here now. And I've got a bit of a sprint to get back up to the midi for the last lift now, as I've come down quite far. But it's worth it to get some proper turns in. And of course, all exercise is good exercise. For the rest of the week, the weather's staying largely like this. Cold with frequent snow showers. Freezing levels down around about 2,200 metres, and there'll often be snow down below 2,000 metres. But it is showery, so some places will see a lot more than is in this forecast. Other places might miss it completely, but yeah, on the whole, we're going to continue to see accumulations of snow above 2,000 metres. So, as of yet, there's still no sign of that Indian summer that I promised you all, but it will come at some point. Between now and December, we will get at least one prolonged dry, warm spell before winter sets in proper. And while yes, we are accumulating snow at 2,000 metres now, it won't last down at 2,000 metres. Above 3,000 metres, we'll certainly see some of this snow lasting, but yeah, once the sun does come back out, we will lose the snow at mid-mountains again before we regain it in the winter. Everybody always gets excited when the first meaningful snows come in September, but winter is still a long way off yet. Just because we've had some decent snowfall totals now does not mean necessarily it's going to be a great start to the season. Equally, it doesn't mean that it won't. In all honesty, we have absolutely no idea what it's going to be like come the start of December, but fingers crossed, it's a good one. Don't be surprised if this is my last Alpine conditions report of the season now, because in a few days' time I'm planning to head east again on a glacier skiing road trip, but this time to Italy rather than Austria, although I might pop across the border into Austria as well. And then after that I'll be heading home for a month at least through most of November, so yeah, it's highly unlikely I'll be doing any more mountaineering now for this season, so keep an eye out for my road trip video. I'll be recording all that again, but yeah, beyond that, in terms of conditions reports, you might not be seeing me until everything starts up again at some point in late November or early December. Man, that's wild out there. Just made the last lift by about 5-10 minutes, so great news. The snow's really come down hard now, so it'll be fresh snow again tomorrow.
Right away.
So that was the penultimate big mountain trail club of the season. The final one will be October 29th, but if you come into that one, be sure to bring a head torch, because as you can see right now it's already pretty gloomy. Another month's time it's gonna be dark, so yeah, you're definitely gonna need a torch of some kind. If you need to book an airport transfer, then look no further than mountain drop-offs. Definitely one of the best and most reliable transfer companies in the valley. You can find out more about their availability using the QR code here or the link in the description. And if you're struggling to find alpine partners or climbing partners or paragliding partners or just want to make outdoor buddies, I'd highly recommend joining the Oak app. A great place to find and meet new people who have very similar hobbies, interests and most importantly, skill level to you. So yeah, you can also check that out through the QR code here or the link in the description.